Hey, and welcome back to Wild Mythology, the channel where we unravel the mysteries of myth, folklore, and legends. As always, I welcome you to the channel with bread and salt. For today's video, we're going to cover the family tree of Gaia and Uranus, the primordial gods of the earth and sky from Greek mythology. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe right now so you can stay updated on our future videos. As the primordial goddess of the earth and the primordial god of the sky, Gaia and Uranus are two of the most important deities in all of Greek mythology. In fact, without Gaia, there is no earth or Greek mythology. Together, Gaia and Uranus give birth to the Titans, a bloodline that practically every character or creature in Greek mythology is connected to. So sit back and relax as we talk about the children Gaia and Uranus had together, plus the other children of Gaia here on Wild Mythology. To start off with, Gaia was the second deity to come into existence, and was the first child of Chaos, the primordial deity of the void. Gaia was then followed by her siblings Tartarus, Nyx, Erebus, and Eros. After being born, Gaia instantly created the earth, and then gave birth to two children and a bundle of spirits without a father. These first two children were Uranus, the primordial god of the sky, and Pontus, the primordial god of the sea. With their birth, a great dome of air encircled the earth, and a roaring sea covered most of the earth's surface. After them, she gave birth to the Ourea, the spirits of the mountains who made parts of the earth rise towards the heavens. From there, Uranus found that he desired his mother, and the feelings were reciprocated. So together, the earth goddess and the sky god had 12 children. 12 beautiful, strong children that would soon be known as the Titans. The firstborn was Oceanus, the Titan of the sea, followed by the second child, Tethys, the Titaness of fresh water. Together, these two titans of water would fall in love and make a home for themselves in the ocean, where they would give birth to the rivers and water spirits of Greek mythology. The next two children of Gaia and Uranus were Coeus, the titan of intellect, and Phoebe, the titaness of oracle. These two also paired off together and spoke of the different futures that Phoebe saw. Together, the two would have two daughters and eventually be the grandparents to the Olympian twins, Artemis and Apollo. The fifth and the sixth children born to the sky and earth deities were Hyperion, the titan of heavenly light, and Theia, the titaness of sight. Together, they would give birth to three deities, one who was connected to the sun, one to the moon, and the last to the dawn. The primordial's next four children were Crius, the titan of constellations, Iapetus, the titan of mortality, Thamas, the titaness of divine law and order, and Mnemosyne, the titaness of memory. While these four didn't pair up with each other, they would eventually find lovers and bring important deities into the world, such as Astraeus, Atlas, the seasons, and the muses. The final two children of Uranus and Gaia were Cronus, the titan of time, and Rhea, the titaness of motherhood. In time, they would eventually be parents of the gods, and soon Cronus would be king after destroying his own father. Overjoyed with his 12 beautiful and strong children, Uranus asked Gaia to be his wife and to birth more of his children. Happily, Gaia agreed, and so once again the sky and earth laid together. Pregnant yet again, Gaia gave birth to two sets of triplets. The first triplets were the Cyclopses, giant immortals that only had one giant eye in the middle of their grizzled faces. They were amazing builders and inventors, and were named Argus, Brontus, and Steropes. The second set of triplets were the Hecatoncheires, the 100-handed giants who also had 50 heads. Of all the immortals, they were physically the strongest. Their names were Briareus, Pontus, and Gyes. While Gaia was delighted with her new children, Uranus was not. He thought them ugly and disformed, and so decided to get rid of them by banishing them to the prisons of Tartarus. This, of course, pissed off Gaia, who rallied together Cronus, Hyperion, Crius, Coeus, and Iapetus to help kill Uranus. With his 4 brothers holding down their father, Cronus took the scythe his mother gifted him and used it to cut off Uranus's genitals and throw them across the earth. While Cronus was destroying his father by cutting him into pieces, the blood from Uranus's thrown genitals was spilling on the earth. From the mix of the blood and earth came the last children Uranus and Gaia would have together. The first were the Erinyes, or the Erinyes, known most famously as the Three Furies, monstrous goddesses of vengeance and retribution who would someday be the main torturers of the underworld. Following them were the female Meliae and their male counterparts, the Curetes. The Meliae were ash tree nymphs, and the Curetes were the spirits of metalworking and the war dance. Soon in the future, the Meliae would help look after a baby Zeus, and the Curetes would dance loudly and bang their shields in order to hide Zeus from his child-eating father, Cronus. As Uranus's genitals continued to glide through the air, they eventually landed in the sea. And as they began to sink, semen and blood mixed together to create Uranus's final child, his only child created without Gaia. The whirlpool of semen and blood boiled and turned into a giant flourish of foam on the ocean's surface. And as the foam started to dissipate, a beautiful woman could be made out standing on a giant scallop shell. This was Aphrodite, the goddess of love, beauty, and procreation. As she walked onto the shore of Cyprus, flowers began to bloom everywhere she stepped. Nothing more beautiful had ever existed up to this point, not even Gaia or the Titans. She was beauty personified. With Uranus dead, Gaia found comfort in her other child, Pontus. Together, they had 5 children connected to the sea. The first was Nereus, the god of fish, who would eventually be known as the Old Man of the Sea. Nereus would go on to fall in love with Doris, one of the sea spirit children of Oceanus and Tethys. Together, the two would give birth to more sea spirits called the Nereids. The second child was Thamas, god of sea wonders, the future father of the Harpies and Iris, the goddess of rainbows. The third and fourth children were Phorcys, god of sea dangers, and Ceto, goddess of sea monsters, a powerful pair who together would create many dangerous monsters, such as Echidna and Medusa. And the last of Gaia's and Pontus's children was Eurybia, goddess of power over seas. Eurybia would pair off with Gaia's Titan child, Crius, and together the two would have 3 children. After Pontus, Gaia went to her brother Tartarus. Their first roll in the hay happened before Gaia married Uranus. The conclusion of that mating resulted in the birth of Kampe, the first Dracaena. Kampe was not beautiful like the Titans. No, she was a monstrous-looking child who hated such things as love and had a liking to pain and suffering. Kampe would go on to become the warden and torturer of her father's prisons in the pit of Tartarus. Her first victims would be the 3 Cyclopses and the 3 Hecatoncheires after they were banished to the pit by their father Uranus. The second coupling between Gaia and Tartarus happened after Zeus and the gods defeated the Titans. You see, the gods had destroyed Cronus and punished many of the other Titans, causing Gaia to be furious with them. So she and Tartarus coupled, resulting in the birth of the Gigantes. The Gigantes were immense in size, had unsurpassed strength, and just like their mother wanted, had an unrelenting hatred towards the gods. Together, the Gigantes and the Olympians fought in a war called the Gigantomachy, which unfortunately for the giants ended with them being defeated and destroyed by the gods and the hero Heracles. A final union between Gaia and Tartarus happened right after the giants were defeated, resulting in the birth of Typhon, the king of monsters. Typhon was the most powerful creature in all Greek mythology. In fact, he was so powerful that even the gods feared him. Typhon would go on to father many monstrous children with Gaia's granddaughter, Echidna. After that, he would attack Mount Olympus and face off against Zeus. Once defeating the thunder god, Typhon chased the other gods around the world until finally Zeus returned and slayed the monster king. While Gaia hated the Olympians, she did have a tiny fling with Poseidon, the god of the seas. Together they had 3 children, with the first being Charybdis. Once, Charybdis was a beautiful woman, but after being punished and cursed by Zeus, she became the whirlpool monster in the narrow sea passage between Italy and Sicily, where she would one day give Odysseus some trouble on his journey home. Their second child was Antaeus, a great wrestler who couldn't be hurt as long as he was touching the earth. That is, until he challenged Heracles. Their final children were the Laestrygones, a tribe of man-eating giants. They would also give Odysseus a hard time by destroying and eating many men of his fleet. Just like how the blood from Uranus's genitals impregnated Gaia, on 2 separate occasions the same thing happened when the semen of 2 gods touched the earth. The first time happened when Zeus was trying to court Aphrodite, but Aphrodite wasn't interested and was too quick to be caught by the thunder god. So a frustrated Zeus gave up and shot his seed onto the earth. This resulted in Gaia giving birth to the Cyprian Centaurs, centaurs with bull horns coming out of their head. The second instance of this was after Hephaestus helped bring Athena into the world by using his axe to split open Zeus's head. Mesmerized with the goddess, Hephaestus tried to rape Athena. Luckily, Athena was able to get away, but not before some of Hephaestus's seed got on her leg. Sneering in disgust, Athena wiped it away with a rag and threw it down to the earth. This resulted in Gaia becoming pregnant with Erichthonius, a mortal who would be adopted by Athena and eventually become a legendary king of Athens. Before, during, and after the wars, Gaia would give birth to numerous monsters by herself. Before the war between the Titans and the gods, Gaia gave birth to the Ophiotaurus, a strange and powerful creature that had the body of a bull and the tail of a sea serpent. It possessed the ability to grant great power to whomever sacrificed its entrails, a power the gods used to defeat the Titans after they sacrificed it. Before the war against the giants and the gods, Gaia produced the Gegenees, a tribe of cannibalizing giants with 6 arms. They would have a mighty battle with Jason and the Argonauts, which unfortunately resulted in the death of every single Gegenee. Sometime after the defeat of the Titans, Gaia gave birth to Python, a monstrous dragon serpent of immense size and power. Gaia had ordered Python to guard the Oracle of Delphi and stop anyone from seeking its guidance. Eventually, Python would also be hired by Hera, the queen of the gods, to eat Leto, one of Zeus's lovers. Typhon failed to eat Leto, but he did heavily injure her. After being born, Leto's child Apollo would get revenge on Python, killing the great serpent with his mighty arrows. After giving birth to Python, Gaia produced Argus, a giant with 100 eyes placed all over his body. Argus was a formidable creature who was able to defeat Gaia's grandchild, Echidna, the mother of monsters, and who would eventually become Hera's servant. Unfortunately, Argus met his end when he was ordered by Hera to guard Io, one of Zeus's mortal lovers who had been turned into a white heifer. Even though nobody could sneak up on him because of his 100 eyes, Hermes put Argus to sleep with music and then killed him. The last child of Gaia's on this list is Scorpius, a giant scorpion that Gaia sent to kill Orion the Hunter because he was trying to kill every creature on Earth. Scorpius and Orion would go on to kill each other and then be raised into the sky as constellations. And that's a wrap for today's adventure, fellow myth seekers. We hope you enjoyed our video today on the children of Uranus and Gaia. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. And with that, we'll see you next time here on Wild Mythology.